Welcome to ESG Decoded, the podcast where we unpack how business, innovation, and impact intersect to shape a sustainable future. I'm Emma Cox, one of the ESG Decoded hosts and Chief Commercial Officer at Climeco. This special video series was filmed live at Climate Week New York 2025, capturing conversations with some of the most forward-thinking and influential voices in sustainability today. These leaders aren't just talking about change, they're actually driving it. Each episode delivers real-world insights and inspiration you can apply to make an impact in your own sphere. Stay tuned for more episodes from this exclusive series. For now, let's decode ESG together. Welcome to ESG Decoded. We are here at New York Climate Week 2025 with a special guest today, Virginie Helias. She is the Chief Sustainability Officer at P&G. Today, we're going to be exploring not just P&G's perspective, but Virginie's personal journey, why she does this work, and how she sees the future of sustainability. So, Virginie, if you'll humor me, I would like to just tell our listeners a little bit about your very impressive background. So, before joining Procter Gamble, which you've been there for 35 plus years, that's very impressive. You were born in Paris, right? And a graduate at HEC Paris. You've worked across multiple geographies, France, the UK, Switzerland, the US, on leading P&G brands like Ariel, Tide, Pantene, Pampers, very well-known brands. Under your leadership, P&G launched its Ambition 2030 goals, committed to net zero emissions by 2040 across its full value chain, and continuously invents toward waste reduction, more sustainable packaging, and lower environmental impact. Welcome, Virginie.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So let's dive in. I want to start with you. And please tell us, we're all very curious to know, what first drew you to sustainability? Was there a moment or a milestone that made you realize this was your purpose?
It's pure serendipity. There were several moments, but none of them were planned. So I joined P&G in 1988. That's just 1 year after the word sustainability was invented. So obviously, I didn't join for sustainability. I joined for marketing, and I did that for 23 years. The irony is that my first projects were all sustainability projects. I mean, that was removing phosphate from Ariel, creating a reusable box for the Ariel powder, compacting Pampers diapers, all of this lowering the footprint of the brand significantly. But for me, it was just marketing, you know.
Interesting.
The environment was flowers and butterflies. It was not serious business, and I was working on serious business until actually something very serious happened on one of my brands. And it's fast forward like to the mid-2000. I was working on leading the fabric care business in Europe, and the flagship brand, Ariel, which is the equivalent of Tide for the US in Europe, was not doing well. It was losing market share, losing relevance. So I had to test new ideas to revitalize the business. So I tested many ideas with consumers, and the one that popped to the top was Ariel cleans so well, you can wash your clothes in low temperature. And at the time, the prices of electricity were skyrocketing. So I added to the campaign, and if you do that, you will see saving on your electricity bill. It was an absolute runaway. The share turnaround, we launched cold water across Europe. In the US, it became Tide Cold. And big commercial success, but for me, again, just marketing.
Interesting.
Until something happened that would completely shatter my beliefs and basically change the trajectory of my career. And that was the launch of the An Inconvenient Truth, the documentary. 2005. First time I was hearing about global warming. And I took my team to watch it. I was very struck personally, but we were sitting here like saying, what's the link between what we do on AIR and this global warming thing? Couldn't make the connection until another serendipitous event, which I dropped several weeks ago. I dropped in a training lunch session where one of my colleagues was explaining the concept of life cycle analysis. When you look at all the impact of your product across all the phases. And I thought it was a very interesting concept. And at the end, I asked him, so Peter, tell me, for a detergent, what's the LCA? And he said, very simple. 80% of the carbon footprint comes from the temperature of the washing machine.
And that's the consumer.
And yes, and that hit me. I understood that the great ideas I had for the business was also the best idea I could have to lower the footprint of my brand.
Yes.
And from that moment, I started to be interested in sustainability. I volunteered for a few projects, but it was still a bit of a hobby. It was the side of my work. So I said, I need to dramatically upskill myself, and I signed up for this 1 week training, One Planet Leader. It was done by WWF.
Yep.
And I was the only one coming from business. Everyone was kind of specialist in sustainability. And at the end, when we gather and kind of share our insights on what are we going to do with what we learn, I stood up and I said, I'm going to make sustainability my job. And at that moment, I have absolutely zero idea what that means. But, I believe that the moment we commit ourselves, then the universe conspires to help you get where you want to go. And so 2 weeks after this training, I'm flying to Cincinnati, and I asked to have a meeting with the CEO at the time. Gave me 20 minutes, and I had prepared kind of a pitch for creating a new role to bridge the science of sustainability. And at the time, we had a team, the environmental scientists, who were mastering the science of sustainability, but had a very loose connection with the business. And so I said this role would bridge the science and the business. And he looked at me and said, it's a very interesting idea. And I said, and by the way, I want the job. And he said, okay. So
right
I started from scratch, zero expectation from no one, and it was really me saying, well, I have a single mission, which is to make sustainability an integral part of how we build our brand, how we innovate, how we run our business and our culture. And that was 15 years ago.
Oh, my goodness. And you're here now. And what a journey it's been.
It's been a ride.
Yes. And
amazing.
so
very rewarding. Not a straight line, though.
But it started with you going into the CEO's office and asking for the job.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really powerful that you're here today still driving such impact behind such a large brand. So thank you for sharing that story. That's inspiring, I'm sure, to a lot of our listeners. So here we are at Climate Week 2025. You've just painted a picture of the last 25, 30 years. We've come a long way, right? But there's still a lot of progress to make. So what do you feel, Virginie, makes this moment here at Climate Week 2025 such a turning point for sustainability? Do you think we're at a turning point?
I do. I think it's really a moment of truth. And I'm thrilled when I hear that this is the biggest Climate Week event ever. It means that really something's happening. It's our choice, scale back or scale fast. There is no other choice.
Right.
We need to go for it. And we really need unprecedented corporate political leadership supported by citizens, to get back on the trajectory that we need. Some are saying, this is a crisis of imagination that we are facing, which I find interesting. And I do believe that we need to change the narrative. That's what we've been using so far hasn't been enough to mobilize, the forces that we need. So we started with the moral obligation narrative. It's the right thing to do. We don't inherit the earth. We borrow it from our children. Not enough to mobilize the meaningful action that we need. Then that was the risk mitigation, business continuity, which is interesting because and really dramatic because we are all seeing the effect of global warming at the doorstep of our manufacturing sites.
Absolutely.
Clearly now it's affecting our supply chain, and yet still not enough to catalyze the change that we need. So what's left? Well, it's about value creation.
Mm-hmm.
It's sustainability bridging value creation. It's when you make it an integral part of your business strategy, when you align sustainability with your business strategy and goals, then you unlock new sources of growth. And I really believe that because that's my story. That's how I started. For me, sustainability was never about purpose,
Right.
It was all
business.
about driving the business and the innovation. And it's even truer now or today. That's what we need.
So have you seen, Virginie, for example, with Tide Cold Water, have you seen that translate into business growth?
Absolutely. It continues to be one of our most successful story, and we've built on it, meaning that, when you improve the cleaning performance of our detergent, we enable people to turn to cold.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reason they would like to do it because they know it's better for their clothes. They know it's better for their wallet.
Right.
And as a bonus, it's better for the planet. But they don't do it because they're afraid that the stains will not go out. So when you reassure on superior cleaning, then they do the behavior change. It's become, what we call, that's why we say those innovations are irresistibly superior. And so, yes, it continues to be one of our best case study. But it's because really this is where, you have this trifecta of superior performance and sustainability and value creation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do want to get into the irresistible superiority of a product in a bit. But before we do that, I'm curious to hear a little bit from you, Virginie. I've heard you a few times when you're speaking talk about the 4 C's, and you really lead with the 4 C's. Share with our listeners, what are the 4 C's and how have they helped you be successful in your role?
So the 4 C's, and there are many 4 C's. I've seen other 4 C's, and often there are kind of overlaps, which makes sense. But my 4 C's are number 1, creativity, number 2, collaboration, number 3, courage, and number 4, compassion. So let me elaborate a little bit on each of them. So creativity, because especially, so it was true before those 4 C's, but I think it's even more relevant today. I mean, this generation is facing challenges that have never been so complex and intricate. Mm-hmm. And we really need leaders who ask themselves, the famous question, what if and how might we, pushing the boundaries. And it's not just thinking out of the box, it's really creating a new box.
Absolutely.
So creativity is so much needed to solve the complex problems that we are facing. Collaboration, it's an obvious one. Mm-hmm. Nothing big happens on sustainability if one company goes alone.
Right.
So that's why, but it's hard, like corporate leaders have been trained in the school of competition. Mm-hmm. The rules of collaborations are very different, and it's not easy. That's why at P&G, we are so deliberate when we go out and create coalition across the value chain, because this is really, when you look at the whole system, that we believe things can change, but not easy. I like this phrase from a French researcher, Olivier Ramon, who says that in the school of competition, we surpass others. In the school of collaboration, we surpass ourselves with the help of others.
I love that.
So that's collaboration. Number 3 is courage. And I love courage also because it comes from a French word, cœur, which means heart. Mm-hmm. And it requires courage to live in this era where uncertainty is the only certainty. Mm-hmm. I mean, they call it after VUCA, it's the BANI word, which means brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. So yes, that requires courage to navigate that world. A bit of a leap of faith, being comfortable with low resolution.
Yep.
So courage is an absolute must. That's the third C. And then compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So compassion literally means suffering together. But you can kind of translate to the business world and say it's basically uniting to embrace common conundrums, you know? And it starts with recognizing the harsh realities, which is the first step to breakthrough. You know, we have very daunting climate ambitions. We don't control all the levers.
Right.
So it's first realizing that we don't have all the answers, that we are building a bridge as we walk on it.
Yep.
And it's also a call for kindness, you know, kindness to ourselves, to others, because perfection is not the expectation.
Right.
And we will likely not see, you know, the final destination. The importance is that we embrace that journey together and that we know that it will get tougher probably before it gets easier. But, you know, this is why for me, embracing creativity, collaboration, courage, and compassion is one of the key to successfully navigate.
I love that. That's a nice guide for sustainability leaders, the 4 C's. And a follow-up to that, Virginie, as you were explaining that, I wonder, do you feel as though sustainability is a competitive advantage anymore, or that it should be?
That's, again, how I started in this journey.
Yeah.
And it's even more true today. Now, how do you make it a competitive advantage? That's the question. It's really hard, you know, because it's how do you integrate it in your business? It's how do you create innovation that hit the trifecta that I mentioned?
Yeah.
So it is a competitive advantage, but you need to intentionally go for it because you can also stay at the compliance level,
right?
You know, and it's already very hard now. It's harder and harder because regulation are pushing it. But if you just stay there, it will never be a competitive advantage for you. So that's why we have this very powerful strategy to develop products that are irresistibly superior and more sustainable. That's our competitive advantage. And it builds on the core strengths of P&G, which is innovation and consumer understanding.
That's great. Thank you for explaining that. So I want to dive into P&G a little bit and this concept of irresistible superiority of a product that is also sustainable. Now say that 5 times fast. Now, I used to work with P&G, so I know this phrase very well, and it's one that I have lived by personally. So I thank you for pioneering it, and even in the conversations that we've had today with other sustainability leaders, they have mentioned this concept and given credit to P&G. So I do want to say that this is definitely an area that P&G leads in, and others are recognizing that and adopting it, which is really exciting. So tell us a little bit more about that, Virginie. Yep. And if you could give us, everybody knows Tide Cold Water. Yep. If you could give us a few more examples of how this is coming to life.
Yes. I think we need to start where we always start at P&G, which is with the consumer.
Yep.
So when you hear what consumers tell you about sustainability, you hear that 84% of them wants to have a life that is more environmental friendly. And then when you ask them, okay, concretely, what have you done in the past 12 months? This 84% becomes a third.
Right.
You know? And that's what we call the intention to action gap.
Yes.
And then when we try to understand, okay, what are the barriers? It's always, and it's universally the same. It's number one, price. Those environmental products are too expensive. So, you know, not worth the value. The value is not what I'm looking for.
Right.
Number two, I'm not an expert to know what is more sustainable or not. It's complex, complicated. Help me navigate that. Number three, I can't find them. And number four, it's they don't work. They are not convenient. They're major trade-offs. You know, only 50% of consumers believe that sustainable products or solutions are better.
The paper straw conundrum. Right?
Exactly. So we look at that and we say, how do we bridge that gap? And when you develop products that are irresistibly superior, you actually, when you link both the performance and the sustainability, you kind of address all of those gaps. Because we develop product to work and help people to reduce their footprint. We even say, sustainability without performance is a waste of time. And performance without sustainability is just a matter of time, because then you will be caught up by either consumer non-wanting or regulation telling you can't sell them, And the nice thing about that is when you develop products that are irresistibly superior, you also help avoid those carbon-intensive compensating behaviors. Because imagine if you are skeptical about the cleaning performance of your detergent, then you will use higher temperature, which means higher footprint. And if you believe that your diaper or your pad may leak, you will change more frequently. So more material, higher footprint, So this is how we look at irresistibly superior and more sustainable. When people purchase our product, not for sustainability, but for superior performance. But then when they use them the way they're intended to, meaning low temperature for Tide, or another example that I will give you, which is on Cascade, and avoiding the pre-rinse, then they lower their footprint. Let me give you the Cascade example to change from the Tide story. Interesting fact. You know how many people own a dishwasher in the US?
Well, I do, but tell our listeners.
78%. Now, the second number is even more interesting. How many of them use their dishwasher? It's 42%. And what's interesting is why? Well, because they believe that the dishwasher is wasteful, wastes too much energy and too much water. Couldn't be further from the truth. Actually, when you compare doing your dishes by hand versus using your dishwasher, a full load in your dishwasher, when it's an Energy Star certified, is only 4 gallons of water. When you do the dishes with the tap running continuously, it's 24 gallons of water.
Isn't that wild?
24, So you better use your dishwasher to save up to 100 gallons a week. Now, having said that, you save the full amount of water if you don't pre-rinse your dishes before loading them in the dishwasher, right? Because otherwise, this is also where you waste water. And so that's why Cascade has formulated a product that actually helps skip the pre-rinse. And so the campaign here is, use your dishwasher every night. You may have seen that campaign, do it every night.
Yes.
But now we are saying even more practically what you should do is scrape, not pre-rinse with water. Scrape it. Load, done.
How many people do you think actually do that? I can't tell you, Virginie, how many times I've had conversations with people that just don't believe me when I say that.
And when they understand that, because on top of saving water, time, it's 30 minutes a day. So that's 3 hours and a half a week, and money. Because if you save all that amount of water, you can save up to $130 per year. So it's a no-brainer, but people just don't know. So that's, when I was saying, I don't know what's more sustainable in the list of barriers why people don't do it, that's a typical one. And once they understand that running your dishwasher is a time, money, and water saver,
no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, I know there are many more examples of how P&G is doing this.
I can give you another one, because maybe
please. Let's
some
go.
of your listeners have a sore throat right now, and maybe they are using Vicks. Maybe I'll show it so that it's even more telling. So, the tension with the Vicks product, you probably have used that, is that they come in a blister
pack, yeah.
That is very hard to remove unless you have professional grade scissors. And the liquid caps are very large. And when you have a sore throat, it can be problematic, right? So what did Vicks do? Irresistibly superior and more sustainable. They launched the liquid tab 25% smaller in a recyclable bottle.
Love it.
And, lower footprint, much more delightful consumer experience, even if you have a sore throat. And so, again, that's another no-brainer, very successful in the market.
when you're sick and trying to get that out. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Yes. No, I love that. And it's really brilliant. And I do think, as I said before, that a lot of other companies are starting to think this way. So I thank you for leading the way and sharing this perspective.
And
because,
by the way, we love it that others
Yeah.
are following this strategy because it will completely change the paradigm that sustainability comes at the detriment of quality and performance.
Right.
And it will help all boats will be rising, and that's good for everyone.
That's great. I think that's a really important message. But I do want to say, Virginie, it's also important to acknowledge that this is not easy to do. I know that this has been a labor of love for you and for many at P&G. I know from working with P&G that sustainability is embedded in every part of the business. And so you've had to engage so many different pieces of the P&G business for this to happen, for just one of these innovations to come to life. And it's science-based, right? You're innovating the product. You're taking the responsibility as the company to innovate and make it easy for the consumer. I think that's worth mentioning because it's not as though this happened overnight.
And when I started the journey, I thought, it was very naive, but I thought the only thing I had to do was add to the GM scorecard a sustainability metric, a sustainability KPI. Little did I know that it would be a 10-year journey before even the sustainability would be linked with the executive compensation.
Wow.
But it's not about deploying sustainability. It's really about change management. I mean, that has been the whole journey, and which is super hard, as we know.
Oh my goodness. That's the understatement, I think, of the year, and every sustainability professional is feeling that statement. So, all right, Virginie, let's move into the future, right? And I hope that we can find some hope looking into the future. So I would love to hear your perspective on where you think the future of sustainability is heading. This is a pivotal moment, both for companies and for individuals. Is there ever going to be a world where the intent to action gap is closed? Where are we going?
So I think it's Warren Buffett who said that predicting rains doesn't matter, building arcs does. And I'm very much into that because, we can't predict the future. The only thing that we can do is to move to action. And in the case here, it's courageous collaborative action, And so I am very encouraged when I go to a Climate Week and I see the vibrancy and the intentionality. And also I was mentioning this new narrative. I was on 2 panels already, and it's all about how can we make sustainability integrated in the business, a force for new innovation. And so that's, for me, is very, very encouraging. It's also, and it's funny because that's one of the most often asked questions from our employees, especially the junior one. They say, yeah, but how do you reconcile sustainability with growth?
How do you?
And so that's a great question. And I believe there is a way. If you think of growth coming from an abundance of ideas, innovation, instead of abundance of resources, that completely changes the frame.
I like that.
And so I really believe that there is a third route between the degrowth and the infinite growth, which is what I would call the balanced growth, when you invest in R&D, where you invest in innovation, where you have radical creativity, and where you balance the quantity of growth with the quality of growth. So I think people are coming around on this, and it's together with amazing collaboration. And I have so many examples. When I speak on several panels where, we'll be sitting all the cross-value chain, talking about what we do together. It's
so powerful.
It's very powerful.
Yeah. So, we've talked about innovation. We've talked about these products that you are reinventing. From a science level. Can you give us a peek into what's on the horizon for P&G? Is there anything that you're working on? Yeah. What's next for innovation?
We are at Climate Week. The first discussion I was part of said, okay, climate, yes, but water is the next climate.
Water.
And I'm so agreeing with that. Water, obviously, for P&G, fundamental. 70% of our product needs water to be used. We are already seeing in water-stressed areas that it impacts how consumers use our product. Fewer showers. And so it's critically important to tackle the water scarcity aspect. And this is one of our coalition. I'm very proud of it because we just got the results of our first pilot. It's called the 50-liter home, which is all about innovation, because it's about how do you innovate so that people can use only 50 liters per person per day, which is seen as the sustainable level of water.
What's the average, Virginie? Do you know?
150,
oh my goodness.
And in some places in this country it could go to 400.
Wow.
So, but using 50 liter in a way that feels like it's 500 liter, like abundance of water,
Sure.
but you in reality only use 50 liter. And why I'm super excited about is because we have this amazing coalition. So it's P&G, Color, Electrolux, IKEA. We have tech partners, Drupal and Flumes, who are like the water meters, very important.
Yes.
And we've done a pilot in Los Angeles, and we are getting the results after a year. Fantastic. So basically, we have retrofitted individual homes
Wow.
with top-of-the-line energy and water-efficient fixtures and appliances in combination with our own water and energy-saving product, but existing technology. It's like what we have today.
We have it today.
The net of it is a 20% reduction of indoor water usage. And people, so that's great. But the even more exciting thing is people say, I love the experience. I love laundry now.
Really?
It's
improving.
It's improving my life. And it's not such dramatic habit change. So it's very seamless. So this is irresistibly super experience that is more sustainable,
Absolutely.
And it's all about conserving water and also energy, because most of the water that is being used in the home for those chores are heated. It's heated water.
So you've done a pilot in LA. This is wonderful that you've proven it can work and consumers are responding. Yeah. How do you scale that? How do you bring that to the next level?
We are already agreeing now on our second pilot in London. We've announced it. So it's on the path to scale. We are going to complement our learning in different housing setup, different consumer habits as well. Very, very encouraged. And then we'll need, for funding, we'll need the institutional financing. The local governments are very, very interested because, water scarcity in the UK is a reality.
Yes.
They can't even build all the new homes that they need because of water scarcity, which you say in the UK where it rains all the time. No, in the UK, actually. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So a project like the 50-liter home, very welcome by the regulators and the policymakers. So we'll get some help there.
That's so important too, that partnership, private, public. Okay, Virginie, thank you for sharing all those wonderful stories. We're into a fun section of our time together, which if you're up for it, we like to do a quick fire round. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. So, what's one word colleagues would use to describe your leadership style?
Inspiring.
When facing a big challenge, which I'm sure you've had in your career, do you lean more on creativity or collaboration?
Collaboration.
If you could snap your fingers and solve one sustainability challenge tomorrow, what would it be?
The water challenge.
Which P&G innovation are you most proud of? I think I might be able to guess. To see making a difference in people's lives.
Ariel cold water.
I would be proud of that too. All right. A little more personal here. What fuels your mornings? I think you shared with us before we started recording, but what do you like to eat in the morning?
Feels. I thought feels like spiritually or mentally. A lot of things fills my morning, I can tell you.
I'm
between
sure.
Running, meditation, and breakfast. That's what fills my morning.
I like that. We took it a different direction, and that's fine. All right. And I'm sure you travel quite a bit, Virginie. Are you a window seat or an aisle seat person?
Window.
Okay. All right. What's a book, podcast, or show you've enjoyed recently that inspires you outside of work?
I just read this book, which is called Growth, a Reckoning from Daniel Susskind. Really interesting. But my Bible in this is called Switch, It's how to drive change when change is hard. That has been my guide all those years.
What is the key takeaway from that book that you can share?
Well, that's how to drive change. It's like a rider riding an elephant, and you need to direct the rider, motivate the elephant, and shape the path. And for each of these, you have several tactics and strategies, and I've followed all of them.
And you've used them.
Yeah.
I love it. And then what is your go-to comfort food after a long day? We're food questions. Chocolate.
Dark, 90%, which I can't find in the US.
Oh, yeah.
They stop at 85.
So you like the bitter. Yes. Good antioxidants in that. Yes. I love it. All right. Well, we actually do have some chocolate that you can take today, but I thank you so much for being with us today. You've shared some wonderful words of wisdom. And I want to give you the floor to leave a parting message with our listeners with one action to align their values and choices with sustainability. What would you say?
Okay, 2 things. If you live in the US, use your dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere else, wash your clothes in low temperature. You've understood that. But I would say something a bit deeper, which is know your ikigai. You know, this Japanese reason for living, basically, which is the intersection of what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And when you find the intersection, you basically make your job your passion. You make your passion your job. You make your mission your job. You make your vocation your job. So I found my ikigai with this job, and I encourage everyone to do the same.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful message to end on. And I'm so grateful to you for being here. Thank you, Virginie.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for tuning in to our special Climate Week New York video series. We hope this episode sparked new ideas and inspired you to take meaningful action on your ESG journey, whether through collaboration, innovation, or bold leadership. Stay tuned for more conversations with the change makers shaping a more sustainable future. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platform. Follow at ESG Decoded on social media and visit climeco.com for more insights and resources. Until next time, keep decoding, keep innovating, and keep driving positive impact.